Okay, so now if you're trying to do a leaf, this is a little bit more complicated. Okay, so because it has curves. Now the first thing you need to do, just as like you had here, is that you have the image needs to be locked. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to lock this entire layer. I'm going to make a new layer down here, and I'm going to name it leaf, because we're going to have quite a few components to it, right? So the way you do a curve, we showed you before, right? So you click once, and then you click a second time, and the second time you click, you hold the mouse button down and you move the mouse. Okay, so I'm going to do, you know what, so plan out how many curves you want to do. Now it would be tempting to try and do it all as in like 1 or 2 curves, but it's not actually that practical to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit on here, use the hand tool, so that's spacebar on the keyboard. I'm going to go here, I'm going to click pen tool, I'm going to click it once, and I'm going to click a second time about here, and I'm going to click and drag now until I get the point I want. Okay, that's actually been too difficult, so I'm actually going to undo that. So let's try again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make some small curves here. So I'm actually going to go click first here, and I'm going to click here, and click and drag like that. So let go. Remember what you need to do is go back to the last point you made again, click on it, and then click where you want to make the next curve. So click, and I'm going to drag like this until I got what I wanted. Click back on the last point I just made. Now I'm going to try and make a curve, one big curve here. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to click here. I'm going to drag like this until I got just about what I wanted. Like this. Okay, so I'm getting there. Again, click on the last point. Now I'm going to make this one here. So click, drag. Okay, and I'm going to click again. I'm going to click here and drag, and then click, and then I click on the last point here and click, and this is a very small curve, so just like this. You can start seeing the outline here again, so it's very simple. It takes patience to learn it, but it's worth doing. So I click back on the last point. I'm going to click down here to make this curve along here, click and drag like this, and now I'm going to click back on the last point here, click, drag, okay, and then click the last point, and then I need to always close the shape. Now that's a closed shape, so now I'm going to move that to the side. Now I can just choose the gradients, and we'll do the gradients if I wanted to do. So let's just do a gradient actually. Let's just do orange and yellow. Oh, let's start it on the inside. I don't want to do that, so let's do it on this one. So I'll select this one here. Now I want to do that one, but instead of orange and yellow, I'm going to just choose a couple of colors. Right here, so let's just do that like this. Just not as dark, okay, like that. Let's just have 2 colors, just make it simple. You can do it as more complicated if you like. Okay, and I can drag this one here to decide how far along it's going to be. Anyway, so that's your, oh, it's got an orange still on it. I don't want the orange, let's take that off. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then okay, so that's your outline, right? So so I've got that now. I can lock that. I've got this part here. I can just call that outline, and I can lock it down, and then I can start doing exactly the same thing, just to trace these inside parts here. Okay.